Dr. Touré, if I could ask you up to the podium, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I must apologize, first of all, because I was asking the moderator to let you know that because of a delay, I have another session in the conference just around the block here, so I will have to leave my apologies in advance for that. I would have wished to stay for the panel, but unfortunately, there have been some delays. So distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be here with you in Dubai and to have this opportunity to discuss investment principles, especially in this region. As Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies, I have, of course, a unique perspective on this issue. This is mainly, particularly, public-private partnership. And the reason I have this unique perspective is that because of our union, the International Telecommunication Union is, by the way, the oldest organization of the United Nations. We will celebrate 150 years next year in 2015. But we have a specific also membership. We have, in addition to our 193 member states, we have over 700 private companies that are members of the union. And the only difference between member states and private companies is when it comes to really voting, and we only vote when it comes to electing the management team and the members of the council. On the real issues, we always manage to come to consensus. That's how we've been able to build global standards from the telegraph days to the internet age today, global standards that make systems interoperable. We also manage the spectrum, global spectrum, and the satellites, orbital locations worldwide. That's why when you are watching the television or you're listening to a radio program, there is no interference because of those coordination that are taking place inside the ITU. And I will say that we are also behind the connectivity. Our members are the ones that have connected the 7 billion or so of mobile users today that we have around the world, or the 2.7 billion internet users are being connected through the information superhighways that my members are putting in place. And by 2020, it is expected that we'll have 50 billion devices that will be connected to one another. And we need to make sure that all of those devices, of course, are having the right connectivity, the right spectrum. We also have today only 2.7 billion users of internet. It means that 2/3 of the human population is still offline. It's a great challenge. We need to put them online. But when they come online, the network usage that there will be there will not simply be multiplied by 3, because 1/3 is only utilizing this network now, and the 2/3 remaining, when they come, the traffic will be exponentially growing, and therefore there are tremendous investment opportunities for infrastructure. And when infrastructure is there, the opportunity comes for more of the services and applications that will come with it. Content becomes an issue, and that's where investment will come as well. So the key for this is we will make sure that governments are putting the right investment framework, the right policy, so that private sector comes in and invests. And let me first say a few words about the sector also, and how important it is today to the world, and why we need to encourage investment in this particular sector. Firstly, there is a huge untapped potential. While over 3/4 of the people in the developed countries are connected, 2/3 of the people in the developing countries are still unconnected. And let's not forget that ICTs, and particular broadband networks, offer perhaps the greatest opportunity we have ever had to make rapid and profound advances in global social and economic development. This is of tremendous and timely importance as we approach the cusp between the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals next year, and the Sustainable Development and the post-2015 development agenda that is being taught now through the United Nations process. By delivering efficiencies across so many areas, from education to healthcare to transportation, water and energy, broadband network can quickly pay for themselves, creating a virtuous circle of investment, productivity, and human development. This is why back in 2010, I created with the Director General of UNESCO the Broadband Commission for Digital Development to make sure that we put in place the necessary framework so that not only the infrastructure will come, but also content will be developed. My constituency will provide the opportunity for infrastructure creation, and also the UNESCO constituency will create the opportunity for creating content in health, in education, science and culture based on that mandate. I did a similar thing with the Director General for the World Health Organization so that we can be complementary in the United Nations system as we go along. By the way, that Broadband Commission, I see a gentleman from UNCTAD here, the Director General of UNCTAD, is a member of that Broadband Commission because it has to embed that in the development agenda, and we're working well together as one. Broadband rollout depends, of course, on investment, and it's important to recognize that ICT sector is highly capital intensive, particularly in the early stages of rolling out those complex technical infrastructure. But once the infrastructure is there, it's no longer capital intensive. Then you have to move it to the content development. And that's where it's very important to note that ICT can play a key role in bringing the solutions to some of the major problems that some of the developed countries are facing today. It's a youth unemployment. This is one area where it's necessary for governments to invest. This is why when I'm talking about public-private partnership, governments should play a role of bringing the necessary legal and regulatory framework that will attract investment from private sector. Private sector will come in and invest in those infrastructure. It needs to be profit-making, otherwise they won't invest. And ICT, thank God, is a profit-making industry. And when I'm meeting world leaders, I'm always asking them to keep repeating the fact that making profits is not a crime in their countries. Inviting leaders, industry leaders to come in and invest, they will make profit out of it. But they are the ones who will be creating those jobs. They will be the one giving new services, new applications. Government will come back again and invest in triggering the demand for those applications. National e-government policies, national e-health, national e-education structures that will trigger the demand, get those first dollars revenues to the private sector, and then the ball will start rolling, and they will go on and invest more, and they will have more profit out of it, and they will give some new services and applications that will come. And when you start putting those investments, especially in the communication, in the ICT sector, or in the broadband particularly, the potentials that are coming, you wouldn't even imagine some of those potentials because they will simply come as we move along. There is so innovation that will come with it. And many services, many new things come. The innovation comes like that because, I just give you an example. When electricity came, then people thought about making high-rise buildings and making elevators. And all of the new services and applications that we've seen today are new. None of them, 10 years ago, we couldn't even imagine them. And we see, even in the developing countries, some new services and applications that are being now conceived, developed, and implemented, and now exported. The critical example is mobile banking. M-banking was born in Kenya and Uganda. It was a local solution to local problems. For those who would like to transfer just very little amounts of money, $5, $10, for which the current banking system is not fit, and therefore having that opportunity, they created the system. Now I can pay some other services as I go in the highly developed countries, because that has been exported now. So this is to show that the sector we're dealing with is actually engined by human brain, and that is the only natural resource that is equally distributed anywhere in the world. There's no nation, race, or culture that has more or less of that. They're all equal, and innovation can come from anywhere. So let me go back and tell you that two years ago, I had a summit in Doha, Connect Arab Summit, as part of a series of ITU's Connect the World summits. This summit, which they ran from 2007 to 2013, they were designed to mobilize the financial, human, and technical resources needed to expand ICT networks and access as a means of spurring investment, employment, and broader social and economic development in each region of the world. The summit in Doha was attended by many heads of state and governments. We had 7 heads of state and government, 26 ministers, over 500 leaders. It was at the time right after the Arab revolutions, where we've seen in Tunisia and Egypt, where youngsters came out in the streets simply because they were out of jobs. And we all know that if we don't provide the right opportunity for these young people in any country to come to have decent jobs, they will come back in the street and all governments will be destabilized. And I think that governments had understood that very well, and there was very high attendance of that. And together the participants in Doha looked at the investment potentials for the Arab region only. It was $47 billion for 5 years in market opportunities, in ICT projects to meet the need of the region, and in particular, new broadband networks and new applications and services in Arabic. And that $47 billion investment would trigger demand of over $300 billion when you trickle down to other services and applications, be it health, education, and so on. So in the space of just a few days, we showed the world that the Arab region is a place that continues to be full of optimism, hope, vitality, youth, and entrepreneurship, and nowhere is it more visible than the city of Dubai. We see here development all around us, and this demonstrates the true power of partnership when you bring all the stakeholders together with common aims and shared